Well, hello, Jenna. I can see you're on the screen here with me, but I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. You hear me? Yeah, we're good. All righty, perfect. Well,
We're
we wanted
good.
to, yeah, perfect. I'm Jamie Gardner from the Utah Education Network. I wanted to welcome everyone to the first Utah Nearpod Community Meetup, and thank Matt for letting us jump on to his GEG Utah Meetup as well. So hopefully we have a few UNC, which is my short way of saying Utah Nearpod community members here, but also maybe some new members from GEG Utah. So we wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. Quick intro about me, and then I'll let Jenna introduce herself. So I'm a product manager for Nearpod for the Utah Education Network here in Utah, along with doing other, technical training things for UEN. But my role with Nearpod basically means that I try to keep everyone in the state up to date on things that are happening with Nearpod. I teach a couple of online courses, and I coordinate a lot with Jenna on things that are happening here in Nearpod. So I'll let Jenna go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Okay. Hi, I am Jenna Townsend. I'm the Customer Success Manager for all Nearpod and vocabulary accounts in the state of Utah. And what that means is I work with maybe your district, maybe your school, and I help make sure that you have all the support you need through training, user contests, all those fun things. And I do work very closely with Jamie as well. A little bit about myself. Up until this last November, I was with a Utah school district for 11 years as a teacher, an ed tech coach, and a digital teaching and learning specialist. So I'm happy to keep collaborating with Utah teachers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jenna. Yeah, we were super excited when Jenna took this role because she does have such a vast knowledge of Utah and technology in Utah, as well as Nearpod. So we're super excited to have her as our CSM on the Nearpod side. So just a few, I guess, announcements and maybe some background information on the group that we're putting together. As the Nearpod usage in Utah has grown, we just felt like there needed to be a community or a place where we could kind of get together and talk about Nearpod specific to Utah, kind of collaborate a little bit more, maybe share some videos, some training, some lessons, just really gather together all of you that are using Nearpod to make it more powerful for all of you as users. So that's kind of where this idea came from. We're just getting started. This is our very first virtual meetup, and we're hoping to have a virtual meetup every month or every other month, either online or an in-person meetup instead. So that's kind of what the roadmap's going to look like. A few, I guess, announcements we'd say before we jump in and do a little Nearpod at the end. We have to, of course, do a Nearpod. We can't leave a Nearpod meeting without doing a Nearpod. So those of you who took the survey in the Welcome Nearpod that I sent out, just a few updates on the results from what we've seen so far from our group members and what they're looking for in this group. So about 80% of you wanted short pre-recorded videos highlighting tips and tricks in Nearpod. And so Jen and I, we're going to be on that. That's making those short videos, I think, will be helpful for everyone. We can use them in our own schools for our own personal training or to help train other educators. About 75% of you wanted an informal place to ask questions and get help. So next on the list, you'll be seeing a link to some kind of an online platform. We're thinking Google Groups would be a great place to host this, but we're still looking at a few other options. We just want to make sure that we have a place that works for everyone and will also grow with our group as more people find out about us and become involved. So short videos, an informal place to ask questions, top of the list. The third highest result from the survey was that 70% of you are interested in a monthly newsletter. So we're going to get on that as well. And you will see a newsletter coming out next week from us. We're hoping to include those tips and tricks videos, some spotlights of other educators across the state, and then just updates on new content or content that we think that will be helpful for you. So the last thing here was how many emails you want to receive every month. We know that we all love emails, but it looks like 1 or 2 is our sweet spot. So we're hoping to not overwhelm you with content and send out 1 or 2 emails a month. I'm thinking the newsletter will be one of those emails, and then maybe some kind of a content update or, something just fun and engaging with Nearpod. So a few of you did say that you'd be happy to share a spotlight, which is perfect because nobody wants to always hear me on the training videos or giving tips and tricks. So I'll be reaching out to those of you who were interested in being a spotlight and showing us what you're doing in your classrooms. A lot of times that's where it's a little more difficult for me because I'm not in a classroom to be able to show content that's happening from within a classroom. So I'm hoping to reach out for some of you for that. And also, if you mentioned that you'd be interested in helping on the leadership side or with doing those spotlights, we have some opportunities for you this summer as we will be hosting a summer Nearpod webinar series. So I'm super excited about that. And I would love to get some of you involved in co-hosting those webinars or in just sharing maybe a short little video, one of those spotlight videos as part of our webinar. Okay, so that's kind of a recap of the survey. If you haven't had a chance yet to jump in and do that, welcome Nearpod and take the survey. Make sure you do that. I will make sure I put that link on our website, which right there is scrolling across the bottom. So how you find information about the Utah Nearpod community and Nearpod in Utah. UEN hosts a website that's uen.org/Nearpod. And really, that's going to be the easiest way for you to find all Nearpod related things for Utah. On that page is a link to our specific page for the Utah Nearpod community. But right now that is hosted on a Google site. So obviously that link's a lot longer than uen.org/Nearpod. So if you go there, you can get to our specific page on the Utah Nearpod community. Next on the agenda, I'm going to give Jenna just a second to talk about this. We have a special badge or sticker that's being made by Nearpod. So we'll let Jenna give a little shout out about that one.
Perfect. Put me on the spot there. That's okay.
I know, I'm sorry.
So Jami came up with a great idea for all of us Utah Nearpod community members. There will be a digital badge customized for our user group and for Utah that you can put in your email signature, as well as actual physical stickers. And it is currently being designed. So we're going to do a sneak peek, but there are a couple tweaks we're going to make to it. So I don't have anything to show you yet. But yes, we will make sure you get out, unless we want to see the draft, Jami.
Yeah, it's totally up to you. I think the draft, some of you may have seen before, unless Jenna has something new to show. It originally came back and it looked a little too similar to the Nearpod badges we already had. They just changed some wording. So I kindly asked for something that was a little more special, maybe is the word for our Utah Nearpod community. So it looks like a few people want to see it, but Jenna, if you want to share your screen, you can. Otherwise, we can just hold off and we'll be getting something out to you soon.
Yeah, well, you know what? I will say we're trying to get it to look like you can see half of it right here, but I'm in the way, at least from my view. We can see the little delicate arches with the Nearpod. It's the shape of Utah, but just something to kind of get the word out that you are a Nearpod rock star. You're a part of this great community where we collaborate, and you can show that off on your laptop, on your planner, wherever you put your stickers.
Yeah, we love swag around here, and Nearpod seems to be really good at creating and handing out swag. So, and if you guys don't know this, I feel like we're a little bit special here in Utah because we are the only state, as far as I know, that has a statewide contract for Nearpod. So Nearpod is kind enough to like us and do a few extra things for us that they might not do for other states. Yes, we won't share that too far. So yeah, we're excited about that. Another exciting thing that's coming up is that we are going to be launching a Nearpod coaches course this summer. So if you are interested in becoming a Nearpod coach, then you will be able to take a class through UEN that will help you prepare for submitting your video to become a Nearpod certified coach. I believe this program used to be called a Nearpod certified trainer. So some of you may already be Nearpod certified trainers, but we're looking forward to having that course live on June 1st and getting some of you involved with that. Also, this summer or anytime, we still have the Nearpod beginner course and the Nearpod advanced course. And those two courses, if you're looking to become a Nearpod certified educator or an advanced certified educator, those courses will count for that as well. So excited to add another certification course to the list. And then I would say the last things to share here, unless Jenna has something else she wants to talk about, is just that this summer we will also be at URSA, and we are excited to be able to do an in-person meeting while we're there at URSA. So there will be an hour time slot that's devoted to the Utah Nearpod community, sharing some resources that are Nearpod specific, but just being able to get to know each other a little bit better and see, like what we all teach and what our specialties are, and be able to collaborate maybe on some Nearpod standard aligned lessons and activities. So if you're going to be at URSA in Cedar City this summer, we would love to meet up with you there and see you there. Awesome. Jenna, you have anything else for us?
No, I think that is it. As it comes up, we will share with you. I will be all around the state of Utah at different points throughout the summer at various district conferences and other statewide conferences. And I really hope you come and say hello.
Yes, definitely. As we're out and about, definitely come up and introduce yourself. We'd love to get to know you better. I know that during, since so many of us have worked online or we weren't in school, we've never really met each other in person. And so it'd be great to be able to meet everyone. So that'd be awesome. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes of our meetup. And what I wanted to do was just share maybe a little survival guide of Nearpod activities for the rest of the school year. We always could use a few things here and there. And it looks like Matt's sharing my screen there. So you can see this. I will put this code up for you. And if you want to join the Nearpod, that'd be great. If you just want to watch, that's great also. I know sometimes online you're on your phones or you're just kind of kicked back enjoying yourself. And so you don't really want to join, but the screen should help you out there. So the code is XZDMI if you want to join. And what I like to do in a Nearpod, and this is maybe a little training tip as well, is that while people are joining your Nearpod, it's nice for them to have something to do. So I always try to put up some kind of an interactive activity first, so that they have, a few things that they can be working on while everyone is trying to join, or if you're working with students while we're helping students to join. And on this first slide, I just wanted to point out some of the new features of the Collaborate board. And that is this cool new background. We've got lots of new backgrounds, but also there at the bottom, you have the option to add a few different types of media that maybe you weren't adding before. So that's kind of fun for our students. But our first tip here that I wanted to pass out for our survival guide goes along with what that first Collaborate board was. And that is just encouraging each other and our students to make it through the rest of the year. So Nearpod in their content library has some of these SEL warm-ups is what they're called. And they are just short, maybe 2 or 3 slides with an activity to, promote kind of empathy towards each other, to give each other props for what's going on. So you can find those if you click on this link. It's a link to that content in Nearpod, but if you just search for SEL warm-up, you're going to find all of that content. And here in Utah, we actually have access to the social and emotional learning library, which is where these were found. So just a little thought, if you need to do a little bit of a temperature check with your class, a great resource for you. Next here is converting a quiz to a time to climb. So I love time to climb. I don't know, maybe I just am a kid at heart, but I think time to climbs are great. And for two reasons. One, that we are able to assess our students while they're playing a game during that gamification mode. And also because it gives them a little bit of a break from the norm of maybe preparing and reviewing for content, which is what we do so much at the end of the school year. So quick and easy way to convert a regular quiz to a time to climb. If you go into any of your lessons that you have created and you know there's a quiz in there, if you click on the quiz in your top toolbar in Nearpod, you are going to see that the link that says convert to time to climb, it's going to show up and it's going to be able for you to click on it. All you have to do is click on that link and it's going to take your quiz and turn it into a time to climb instead. So you have the option of replacing that quiz, or you have the option of just adding the time to climb, which I think is great. So take any of your lessons, click on your quizzes, convert those to time to climb. And then as a teacher, you launch your lesson and you just share that one slide and your students have a game. I think this works great for reviewing content. I also think that this just works great when your kids need a little bit of a break, but you don't want to have to dig through your Nearpod library to find maybe a new quiz or a themed quiz that's maybe, content for everybody. You can just use content that you already have. So converting a quiz to a time to climb for either review or just to get you through the rest of the year. Okay, tip number 3 here are our virtual field trips. So Nearpod virtual field trips, here's one for you. So you should be able to just click and drag around this screen and move this image along. Bonus points to anyone who knows where this is. Jenna, you happen to know where this is? I got to tell you, I have no idea where this is, but I thought it looked cool, so I added it in. So cool thing about virtual reality field trips, you can use any 360 cities image to and add it as a virtual field trip. You can take your own 360 images and upload those to 360 cities and add that as a virtual field trip. So lots of options here. But if you're looking for more than just a virtual field trip, maybe you want some content before where we're teaching our students about that specific virtual field trip, or you're looking for maybe we like the outside of this, but we're curious what it looks like from the inside. There are, and I'm going to move you along, so don't get mad at me when I click the next button. This is a PDF connecting you to the virtual field trips in Nearpod. And these field trips, you can go to different college campuses across the country. Actually, I think there's a few in Europe as well. You have some explorations, the field trips, and then the ignites. And these are lessons. So it's not just the image that you're dropping out there, but there's some discussion questions and collaborate boards. And most of these field trips have multiple VR images inside of them. So your students can get the full experience. They can see maybe the outside of the Coliseum and the inside of the Coliseum. They can learn a little bit of the history of it. And it's the same way with the college tours, the Ignite sessions, all of those. So if you click on any of those links, you can be taken to the different VR tours. I think that's always fun with kids. They seem to enjoy exploring some lands that they've never seen before.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes,
I did the classic talking while my microphone was still on mute, but it looked a lot like the Coliseum.
Ooh, perfect. Yes, call it the Coliseum. I should have known that was what it was. I just decided to just drop that picture in without even thinking. So thank you, Jenna. All righty, next up are the new drag and drops. And I think that Jenna probably has some more information about these because she is the one that alerted me to these new drag and drops. The one that I entered for you guys here, maybe let's go back and forth. Fingers crossed I put the right one in. Oh, let me go to my, I swear it was working before. So the drag and drop that I added was pencils. So we were measuring pencils. Hopefully you guys are seeing it and maybe it's just not showing up on my screen because I'm just getting kind of a draw screen here. But anyway, can you see it, Jenna?
Yes, if you're in the Nearpod, you can see it.
Oh, good. Okay. So I'll let Jenna talk a little bit more about the drag and drop activities that have been added to Nearpod.
Yes. So we have added, I want to say, I was trying to look up this number real quick. I want to say we have added over 500 new pre-made drag and drop activities that are standards aligned and represent a variety of content areas. The great thing about a drag and drop activity is you don't have to add it to a full Nearpod lesson. You can launch it as a standalone activity. And in addition, let's see here. Jamie, would you mind going to the, I think it is the blue arrow on the right. Oh no, because you're presenting. Let's pretend that Jamie was making her Nearpod. And I believe it's a gray arrow on the right. You can click that and expand a menu of those pre-made drag and drops when you are in Nearpod. So if you're making a lesson, activity type, drag and drop, there is an expandable menu on the right where you can search for a pre-made drag and drop activity right from within the lesson you are creating.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I didn't create this drag and drop. I just, when I was creating this lesson, I went and searched. I think I just searched measurement maybe because I had seen this, cute pencil one, and that's how I found it. So I didn't create this, but the cool thing is you can edit it. So I could edit the instructions and I could edit the drag and drop a little bit. And at the end of the school year, a fun way to use the drag and drop would be to find a few that are related to your content and maybe make a game out of it where your students could, kind of compete with each other to see who can get it first or which group can get it first or how many people in each group or each side of the room can get the correct answers. So we're not necessarily basing it off of speed, but just off of getting the right answer. So you can kind of make it a little more fun by just adding that element to it. So yes, awesome.
I'm going to interject really quickly. Yeah. If you go back to teacher view, it works just like the draw it now, where again, you can see students who have submitted their final drag and drop answer. You can see students' work in progress, but you can also share a student's drag and drop screen anonymously with the rest of the class. And you can use this as an opportunity to ask a student to demonstrate their thinking, right? They can be dragging and dropping while doing a think aloud for the rest of the class.
Awesome. Yes, I love those drag and drop features. The other cool thing with that is that now you can also combine the drag and drop with the draw it. So you could have your students maybe drag some of the answers, but then add to it by also typing, so maybe they're labeling and they drag and label maybe the cell correctly, but then they have to give two, maybe 2 facts about each part as well by using those draw features. So very cool. I love the new drag and drops. Okay, so last on our list here are brain breaks. I know that brain breaks were a big part of my classroom. I taught high school, and sometimes we all just needed to take a deep breath, especially, my classes were about an hour and 20 minutes long, and high school students, you'd think their attention span gets better as they get older. It does not at all. So brain breaks. The first brain break that I wanted to add here, and I'm going to allow you to play this all on your own devices, is a video from Flocabulary. Now, I love the Flocabulary videos because they are so fun. And we know from experience that students learn well when it's a song. It's why all of our early nursery rhymes, we can still remember them now. Our ABCs, if you teach 4th grade, the county songs. Yes, my children have taught me the county song. Yeah, I can still sing them all. But hopefully you're all playing this little video on your own. But the vocabulary, or sorry, the flocabulary videos, I think would be fun for any age of kids. Find a video that talks about whatever your topic is. Let your students play that. I recently saw, I think it was a TikTok where a teacher had a song that he would play. And if an adult would walk in the room or just at any time during the day when his kids needed a little break, he'd turn on the song and everyone had to stand up and dance. So I think using the vocabulary videos in a little bit different way could give our students a bit of a brain break. The last thing here is just back to that collaborate board or to the VR field trips. That's another good one. But here on this collaborate board, you now have, this is another fun background, but I've limited it so you can only add a GIF. And I've put columns in as well. So when your kids just need a laugh, when you just need a bit of a break as well, allowing your kids to post GIFs, we know they love it. So make a fun board out of it and have them categorize things or have them just add funny memes for each other. So cat and dog GIFs, babies, they always seem to get everyone smiling.
And this has actually come up quite a bit lately. As with image searches through Nearpod, we do utilize Google's Safe Search feature.
Yes, perfect. And even with the new collaborate boards, you can still approve before people add. So that's a huge plus. You can approve before they add. And if you turn on the comment feature, not only can our teachers like each other's posts, but they can now comment on each other's posts. So this makes it really more of a collaboration than just a kind of pin board. So fun little tip there. So last on here is just our resources. So if you're looking for those links to the words of encouragement or videos on how to convert a quiz to a time to climb, anything that was shown today, here is a little resource for you. Now, and you guys might do this different. We're running out of time, so I'm going to be really quick, but I like to add my resources as a PDF document. And the reason I do this is because if your older students are using the notes feature in Nearpod and they are having the notes downloaded to their drives, if you add your links as a PDF document, then your students can open that in the notes and they can download that on their own and have access to all of those links. So I try to put a PDF document at the end of most of my Nearpods with just links to all of the resources that were shared throughout the Nearpod. And that's what you have here. So just a little final tip there. All righty, so that's it for today's meetup. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Look forward to meeting all of you in person and getting to know you better. Thanks to Matt and his GEG group for letting us join with them today as well. I hope some of you were able to join in on their meeting and learn more about Google. Jenna, do you have any last words for our fun group here?
I don't know. I was just getting caught up on the comments, and it looks like a lot of people were calling out Rome for that VR.
Rome,
field
perfect.
trip. Yep.
I need to maybe take a visit there, and then I would have seen it right away. But perfect. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. This was recorded, so we will make sure that we pass this along in our newsletter. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.